Do you ever get that feeling like you're up and around and you're doing things?
Yeah.
But it's not your natural time of day.
I mean, like if you've been a bit,
kind of like you've turned up for an interview and you're 2 days early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it does feel like that, kind of.
How weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Popcorn.
Oh, yeah.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and everything else, whatever time of day you happen to be watching this. And welcome to Maybe Movies, and the first of our Wednesday shows, which is in line with the new format that we were discussing last week. So we are now going to be doing 2 shows a week. So first one on Wednesday, second one on a Friday, and reducing our what we discuss. Each show will be an act now of the relevant film that we're doing.
Should hopefully streamline things. Sort of.
Maybe. We'll see how we go. So very quickly, because there is a lot to unpack with this one here.
So much.
Yeah.
So much.
So we're not going to waste too much time. Very quickly, just want to do one quick shout out this week. This week, I'm going to get used to saying today.
Oh yes, indeed. Today. Or this time.
Yeah, this time, that's better. Which is to Paul Goldsmith and Catherine Vince, who, again, a couple of very good friends and fellow thespians.
Indeed. Worked together a couple of times.
Yes, yeah. And they Paul has his own channel, which has got a lot of his stuff on there, which he's been doing locally. He does a lot of, I think he does everything from filming stuff to doing kids' parties stuff and things.
Oh, so quite a bit.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good range. So please do give it a look, throw him some love, throw him a sub, and why not give us one as well?
That would be nice. We'd love you.
Where else could you come and just see me maliciously devouring popcorn?
I love the notion that there's malicious intent to popcorn.
It gets what it deserves. I think we are back with the Chilean again. Back with the Carbonara, which seemed appropriate for the subject matter.
It certainly does do justice to the situation.
It does, doesn't it? Yes. In a similar vein as well, I must admit, I've gone... Partly because I figured with having to mire ourselves in so much teen romance, that's turgid enough that we needed something a bit more visceral too.
A bit of grr-arg.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, gold star straight away for the reference. Very nice. Okay, so...
We are doing this.
We are doing this, and again, one final time, David...
We love you really bad.
There's a few things I think we need to unpack before we start.
There are a few things. Okay, what's first on your mind?
Because in Underworld, Celine is our protagonist and she has the monologue. But if we are doing this as a Twilight film, we would have to go then with Michael being the protagonist and it's his monologue. Mm-hmm. That was the first point. Are we happy with that?
Well, I think if we don't want to break Twi-World straight away, I think we probably should. To be honest, we do know a bit about Michael. I mean, in Underworld, he is learning to be a surgeon or is a surgeon. I'm not 100% sure. I think he's a student.
He must have recently qualified because he's an intern.
So, obviously, like our early scenes of biology class actually fit really well with this because he's a person who's going to have this interest in saving lives.
Well, there were some other bits as well that I found out, and again, I must admit, I haven't had time to go back and watch Underworld before we've done this episode, so I wasn't sure how much of it was mentioned in the film, or again, how much of it is extraneous stuff from other parts of the series.
Yeah.
The whole reason that he's in Budapest is that him and his fiancée were involved in a car crash, and she died.
Of course, and that's why the car crash in the beginning is significant. I missed that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which kind of ties me into the second point. Obviously, Charlie, and I can't remember Bella's mum's name. Sorry. I remember the actress Sarah Clark because I know her very well from 24. She's Nina Myers in 24.
I can't remember. I can only remember that Bella called her mother by her first name and that's it.
But they're not old enough, because I know we want to keep them, they're part of that universe. They're not old enough to be his parents, realistically, because, I mean, he's got to be at least in his mid to late 20s. Michael. So I was going to say, is he their kid brother? And therefore, the dynamic with him moving to Forks is this tragedy has happened. He's lost his fiancée. He can't carry on with his studies. He needs somewhere to kind of recoup. And he's got a choice of either going to stay with his sister, who's now off travelling with her new husband.
With her
Oh no, that doesn't work because they're married. Oh. Yeah, no, but wait.
It's the ex-brother-in-law.
Oh, even better.
That's what Charlie is to him, is he's the ex-brother-in-law in that,
Yes.
in that scenario.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Yeah. And just say for the sake of story, maybe Forks is close to a university that's got a good medical program.
Could be. Yeah, that's worked.
But, I mean, because in Twilight, they never say how long ago the divorce was. It was enough that Bella spent years coming to visit and then stopped coming to visit. So maybe 6 or 7 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, that works.
So instead of him actually moving in, it's him crashing at Charlie's whilst he's trying to find a place.
Perfect. I like that as well, but I also liked it as, again, by making it that you still get, those characters still get to retain that slight parental responsibility they have for him.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because for starters, Charlie is clearly older than him, but also, as a sheriff, he's got that sort of parental, authoritarian, looking out for you attitude.
Excellent. The next thing I was curious about is, do we, with regards to the dynamic between Michael and Celine, so initially we said the teacher-student relationship, Twilight has both Bella and Edward on the same level, so could it be that he's teaching, because again he has some kind of medical qualification, they could both be teachers.
Okay, alright, well this is going to switch things up, so that would mean that like the initial scenes of attraction / repulsion and things like that would maybe play out in the staff room rather than the classroom?
Because we don't want to lose some of these scenes, so like the stuff in the dining hall, things like that, it could be he's being shown around by the principal, this is the staff room, this is the dining room, blah, 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 and that's where he spots her.
Ah, right, okay, yeah. So it'd still be, she's one of the Cullens.
Yeah.
And you'd still get the introduction to the Cullens because they're also in, or they're in that area at that scene. So it still serves the purposes of the story.
It just depends on which kind of dynamic do we want to go for.
I'm thinking like in the scene in the biology class when they're literally sitting next to each other and he's like,
yes,
that whole reaction, attraction / revulsion, he needs to have some reason to be that close to Celine. And that's why I was thinking the staff room. It might be an introduction like, here's meet the staff. The only empty seat is next to her or something like that. And then you get that physical into like, she's giving me this weird fucking look. Yeah.
Perfect.
Basically, we have to take the classroom scenes and turn them into staff scenes.
Yes.
To create that intimacy with the characters.
I mean, are you happy with that? I mean, unless you've gone a different route.
Well, unless we make them teenagers, which kind of breaks the characters a little bit.
If we were making this in the 50s, we can get away with it.
Yeah, we could get away with it.
But we can't.
We could totally get away with it. But I'm not even thinking about the actors. I'm just thinking about the story. You know, but no, make it teachers. Actually, it makes it a little more interesting. Already an implicit illicitness to any kind of relationship that happens. At work, relationships are always a little fraught.
They are,
so it creates a little more tension than...
I wanted to check that you were happy with it as well, because I didn't know whether you'd...
I wasn't sure what to do. I thought of a number of possible scenarios, but you seem to want to go this way, and I'm happy enough. It's not going to break the story. As long as we can center the story around the school and the situations that it needs to for the story beats to happen. Mm-hmm. We haven't broken anything. It's still set in the same place. You still get the teenage drama going on in the background with the Cullens and everything because they're still part of the school system because they're teachers of the school. So there's always a reason to include these scenes. We don't break any of the fundamentals of the story here.
And some of the advice that is given then is, as opposed to have that advice coming from somebody within their peer group, it's coming from somebody from the teaching body.
Yeah.
So again, you get the idea. You get to include these very kind of, I was going to say savvy.
All right, okay. But just being me and always trying to find little connections and thematic things. Let's say he's the new biology teacher.
Perfect. That makes sense. Yes.
Because all of the original scenes were in biology class, or pretty much all of them were.
Of course. Oh, well done. Yeah, no, that's gold star. Definitely. Yeah. And I was going to say she's teaching history.
Of course she is.
What else?
Of course she is. 300 years old, I think, wasn't she? At
this point? Something like that,
Yeah. Okay. All right. Is that all of your priest concerns?
Yes, I think that is all of them. I wrote down the bottom here, both human protagonists in these films have no personality.
I will argue that Michael has more personality. We know that he's a medically inclined person and cares about saving lives.
He does, yes. He's very, yeah. He
has a tragic story in his background.
Definitely.
So he is marginally less of a blank slate than Bella is in the story.
There is one thing that I did put a note of here with regards to. There's so much emphasis in this about, about them being the vampire equivalent of vegetarians. I just looked at it and went, yeah, so where's Count Duckula?
Oh, yeah, of course I should have thought of that, yeah.
Got that. So, Arrival, then that will cover pretty much everything that we've just said there.
Yeah, we've done that, and that was going to be one of my first scenes because, of course, of the different dynamics. But yes, as you said, we've pretty much covered that. Now, does this mean that he doesn't know Jacob from earlier? Because in the story, Jacob is the same age as Bella. They kind of grew up together. When she was visiting, he'd be around.
Not entirely impossible.
He'd have met him a few times, but maybe not as friendly a relationship.
Yeah, he'd have met him as the chief's
casual
dad.
Acquaintance,
The chief's son, isn't he? Yeah,
Billy's son.
Yeah, Billy's son, yeah. So,
Billy Black, yeah.
So he'd have met him as his son. I mean, okay, he probably remembers him from when he was 4 years old.
Because they come over for games. They come over to watch the games. It's in one of the scenes in the story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes perfect sense. So they would have met. That's great. That explains that relationship. He's still younger, because Jacob's only 16, 17 at this point.
Yes, the same age as the others, isn't he? So
I'm not sure if he's the same age as Bella or slightly older. But Bella's supposed to be 16 in the first story.
Because, yes, he will have a part to play, not so much in this one, does he? Because by the looks of it, most of their story.
I know he is important because he's the one who tells the story of the tribal lore about the Cold Ones, and that's what sets the research quest off for the Cold Ones and turns Act 1 into Act 2. We could switch it up and have Billy be the one to tell the story.
My initial thought is because we're making this a slightly more adult-centric story.
Yes, we are. It's no longer teenage hormones.
I think we keep it as Jacob.
Keep it as Jacob.
Because we're still allowing for the students a part of the story themselves, so he kind of straddles that divide between the teachers and the students.
No, where is it? The surf party. Medical student, biology teacher. They're going surfing on the North California coast. Very rocky, very dangerous. Mm-hmm. He's there as a first aid guy, in case anybody gets hurt.
Oh, yeah.
He's not their chaperone. He's just there in case anybody gets hurt. So he's just there as a safe lifeguard.
Because we're feeding into as well this kind of remorse. He's still going through this grief for the loss of his fiancée.
So he feels an overwhelming need to protect.
And also it's a very bleak place to go to kind of wallow himself in that self-pity.
It is. I'm going to do my crying in the rain kind of a place.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's nice. That's nice, yes.
We're going very noir again, aren't we?
A little, but I don't mind.
There's nothing wrong with noir.
I don't mind. At this point, we're polishing turds, remember?
Oh, that's true. Mythbusters proved you can do.
Really? I have to admit, I didn't even realise there was such an episode.
They did. They tried to polish a turd, and
you can.
You can.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
But what I was going to say, yes, with regards to, so he's in their universe. So again, Celine kind of to a degree conforms to their versions of vampires. So we don't need to worry about things like the Corvinus strain or anything like that with regards to him. The only reason I'm asking is because when he meets Jacob being one of the werewolves, I know you don't see it in the rest of the film, and you know more about it than I do because I haven't seen
Not a werewolf. I think I mentioned it last time. They're not werewolves. They are a tribe who are shapeshifters.
Ah, okay.
In the books, it even mentions that there are children of the moon, and they are separate species entirely. Where true werewolves are completely different. They are Native American shapeshifters.
The only reason I brought it up was because would Jacob detect a kindred spirit in Michael? But if he doesn't have that within his makeup because he's not in the Underworld universe,
no. If you follow the same logic, he's of the bloodline.
Yeah.
So maybe he's got a relative from the Quaaludes. Maybe 4 or 5 generations back that he doesn't know about. Maybe he does have a kinship.
That's cool.
Because, it's not relevant to this story, but it does nicely play into that thing where he's that bridge of the species thing.
Cool. Okay. We can keep that then. Excellent.
If we state it, it feels like it's an obvious thing, and if it doesn't actually pay off in the story, people are going to feel cheated. So maybe we should just imply it rather than absolutely state it.
Yeah. Agreed. Absolutely. Do we go then with the same kind of thing that after this meeting at the staff room, because Celine's reaction to him. She then disappears.
Disappears for a few days. Yeah, it's a notable thing.
Which then brings us on to, and I know we were slightly backtracking.
Dude, we've been jumping back and forth the whole way. It's the nature of this beast. We're playing with a lot of toys right now, juggling a lot of plates.
The incident with the truck.
Yes.
How are we going to handle that? Because even though Celine retains her abilities from Underworld, you never see that she can move. Certainly doesn't move as fast as Edward can.
She can move fast, but as far as I could tell from my observations of the relative stuff that's laid out in the films, Edward moves much faster, probably 4 times faster than she does. But she is fast. Mm-hmm. There are a number of times when she does incredible leaps and charging moments. Where she covers large distance, not vast distance. Relatively speaking, because you're talking about 20 feet across a parking lot. Mm-hmm. In relative terms of speed, I think he's still going to get there in time.
So that will stay the same?
Yeah, I think so.
Brilliant. I like the idea with this as well, is because if you take Celine's character, she's very kind of stoic, she's very reserved and very kind of direct. Mm. So for her, this entire situation is a fish out of water. But for her as well, it's like, I imagine she kind of almost fills in a similar role to Jasper. She's probably only recently joined the clan, if you like. For whatever reasons, she's there, and maybe getting her teaching in the school is part of her education.
Her vegetarian...
Getting her used to...
Okay, so she's new to the vegetarian movement.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's good. That makes sense, because it explains her violent tendencies and things like that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And this is a way of getting her to actually control herself, because she's in a classroom full of people.
So maybe instead of being like, oh, you're all right, it'd be like, you don't watch out for yourself, you're going to get yourself killed, or something like a direct, aggressive, like...
Yes.
She pushes things off, doesn't she?
Yeah.
You know, she's like, I'll save you, but fucking moron.
Exactly.
Look after yourself.
Which I kind of like, which, from what I understand, what you were saying about the pair bonding thing that they get, which is kind of what's happening there, isn't it, with Edward and Bella?
No, it's between the werewolves. It's with the werewolves that happens.
Okay.
Nice thought, but no, unfortunately, wrong species.
Because I was going to say, because for her, she's got no interest in that. Michael's coming from the point of view is that he's still grieving for his fiancée, so he's not looking for somebody else.
Mm. Oh, but that pair bonding instinct. Ooh. Again, it's not relevant to this film. It doesn't come up until like the 3rd film at all. Again, we could kind of imply that there's a natural... Like, maybe the moment he sees her, she looks at him like, oh my God, you're so disgusting. And he's like, oh my God. And it's, it's not just that she's beautiful, but like she's shiny, like she's sparkling maybe.
Yeah.
No, that's wrong, because she is the vampire. That would be wrong. That would be giving away the thing.
Yes, because we're not there yet. That's Act 2. We were almost there. We're coming to that point.
But almost like she's got an aura about her that he's like, oh, you.
Exactly. Which also meant, again, the scene when they go to Port Angeles, rather than leery men trying to start on Michael, which wouldn't happen, there is some leery men trying to start on somebody, and Michael goes to save them, gets out of his depth, and she turns up to save him.
Yes, of course.
Because she's got that protective instinct for him, like Edward does for Bella. Even though she doesn't want to, she's probably complaining and bitching and moaning about it under her breath all the time, but she feels like she has to. She's driven to it and can't stop herself.
Yes, because I'm assuming that he still has the same quality for her that she does for Bella in the original. Mm-hmm. That there's something about him that his scent or his blood or whatever is so...
I mean, it could be something as simple as his tragedy.
In the original story, he does explain it, that it's because she's so unbelievably attractive, he has to spend a number of days learning how to resist the urge to just rip her throat out the first time he sees her. If we don't have that quality, it does become like, why does Celine avoid him?
Regardless of his acting ability, Scott Speedman's character, he's a very good-looking man. Mm. So it could be as simple as that. And when you throw into that mix, as I said, this sense of melancholy that he brings with him because of the recent loss of his fiancée, that could be that she finds intoxicating.
Oh, his tragedy.
Yeah.
Oh, oh my God! You're bringing actual themes into this film. Just gold star. Gold star. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Yeah. We need to. We're still seeing Michael's point of view. How do we convey this?
I think that's stuff that we can bring out in Act 2.
Okay, yes.
Because
everything there are a lot more reveals to be made further down the line.
We can do that in Act 2. The only other thing I was going to suggest, I think, just to wrap up this act
Mm-hmm.
is when they get back, after being to Port Angeles and all of those events,
Yeah.
they get back to Forks, and that's when there's the reveal about Waylon's death. And what I was going to suggest here, as the impetus for Michael to continue, because obviously he's already started doing his research, he's curious.
Yeah.
The impetus for him to do so, and because he is a surgeon, he asks to see the body.
Yes, of course. Yes, he could show his medical license. Yes, of course he could.
Yeah.
I'm caught. Oh, yes. Yeah, got another gold star there, buddy.
Which means that again, we could, even if you want to, throw in a bit of friction with Carlisle. This isn't an animal. What are you talking about?
Even better. Yes, I like it. Oh, God, you're bringing depth to this. Not just themes, but depth. What are you doing? What are you doing, you madman? But I think, although that was a very untidy spaghetti junction-like detour around the first act, I think that covers it.
It does, yes. Just about. We have just about got to...
We found a place where Michael is likely to research the history or the background of the Cold Ones.
And then we end the act, as he does on the computer.
Yeah.
Going into Act 2. Brilliant! Okay. So we always... these first ones, especially with things like this, are always a bit difficult because we have to kind of figure out what we're working with, as you've probably figured out yourselves.
At least we didn't kill it in the first act.
Let's save that for next time. Hopefully not. So please do come back and join us now on Friday in 2 days' time at the regular time, or whenever you decide to rise from your coffins and have a look. And sorry, I couldn't resist. And as always, please do look after each other and stay safe, and we'll see you in a couple of days.
TTFN, guys.
Ba 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 ba.